Compost, a source of life in the garden. In this video, we are going to talk about the steps we're taking to close the loop in our gardens and make our own compost. First, we started with not one, but 2 deliveries by Chip Drop, which is a free service. Arborist working near you will come and drop off after a job. Now, you don't know what kind of wood is in there, and you have to take the entire dump truck load. And they don't tell you when they are coming. But if you're like us, wood chips are a happy surprise. When you put a request in, you do get to give some direction as to where you want them to dump it on your property. These wood chips have been an essential part of our compost making and an essential part of summer fun for our children. Now, we're going to talk about hot compost. More specifically, 18-day hot compost. So we have a pallet that's going to provide airflow from the bottom and this wire cage. The wire cage is really just for measurement. After the first flip, we're not going to use it anymore. We're going to have rabbit manure and their litter, which is alfalfa hay, some scraps from Janelle's garden, which is mostly kale and chard that have really woody stems. And behind me, you can see a big pile of grass and leaves. Now, I ran these over with the mower many times to make sure they had a really big surface area. Also, we have some unfinished woody looking compost that isn't really broken all the way down yet, so we're going to use that on the bottom also. We had to cut up and clip all of the woody stems in Janelle's garden scraps. The kids came over and had a lot of fun using the clippers. Once we got them to a size that was nice and small for a large surface area, we began filling the tower. Now there's some debate on how to fill these towers. Some people say you need your browns and your greens separated and they have to be layered in a very specific way. Other people say it doesn't really matter because once you flip it, you're mixing it all together anyway. So for the sake of saving time, and it was easy with the mower to collect everything, ours is mixed together. Now you can see we're soaking each layer as we go really, really well. You want each layer soaked, that way you don't have to add any more water when you're turning your compost. If you have to add water, the cold water is just going to cool it down, which isn't really what you want to do. So we filled this tower halfway up. We are going to be putting rabbit manure and the garden scraps in the middle. One of the reasons why we're doing this is because, well, last year I got compost that was unfinished. And the companies are just trying to keep up with demand. Everyone needs compost, more people are gardening than ever. And they're turning it out as quickly as they can. Unfortunately, it was unfinished, burned and killed all my plants. Then this year, we got compost that was contaminated with herbicide. Once again, not really the company's fault. They're just trying to keep up and turn out as much as they can, and they're just sourcing things from as many places as they can. And it was the source that was unreliable. We're going to finish topping this off and watering with all the leaves and the mulch and the grass clippings. Now we decided to cover this pile because we've had a lot of wind and it's summer and it's really hot. So we didn't want the water to evaporate out of our pile or the wind to wick it out. So for right now, we're keeping it covered. If it gets too hot or if we notice something that needs a change, we probably will uncover it. But our plan for now is to keep it covered with the black plastic. We're now going to start shoveling these wood chips for our longer compost pile. Now that hole behind Janelle is not an animal, it's our kids making some great summer memories. These wood chip piles have just been so much fun for them. So we're going to take these pallets and just make a square. We started with grass clippings and the leaves on the bottom, and we're going to layer the wood chips on top of that, and we're going to alternate those layers. Now with the wood chips and the leaves, we're going to have a good bit of carbon in here. But this is our long-term pile, so we're planning on using this like next spring to help our gardens. So because it's so long, we're thinking this is still going to be okay. And we're going to continue adding rabbit litter, kitchen scraps, garden scraps, and things like that to this pile until it's layered all the way up at the top. What I'm hoping to do is get a nice hotbed and be able to put a bag of soil on top of it and grow some greens for the winter in it. If they're covered, I think the heat from the pile will help them grow, and this just might work. So all I did was I put one lag bolt in the corner of each pallet, and that's all it took. Once all the material was in there, it held really nice. So something that varies from compost to compost is the balance of the fungi and the bacteria. So the wood chip is going to give a beautiful home for the fungi. Now, from what I understand, the hot compost, the 18-day, doesn't have quite as much fungi. We do mulch with wood chip, so we are giving the fungi an opportunity to be there after the fact, but we're going to try this long term and see if it makes a more balanced compost. Part of composting is just like gardening. You have to figure out what works for you. So we're also trying worm composting to see how we like that. Whether you like raised beds or in-ground, whether you like 18-day or long-term, it just depends on what you're capable of, what materials you have, and if you have any help. Help was a big part of this. I'm not sure if either one of us could have completely done this in one day all by ourselves. That's why it's so good to have community, and I'm so grateful that we have each other. Now we are going to keep you guys up to date with every turn we do on this compost, every layer that we do. We're going to keep you guys here with us and talk about it. Having a passion to learn is what gets us through hard times. Thank you for letting us share our passion with you. We'll see you tomorrow.